Team, it's time for that staff video update. That's right, I am wearing what might be the ugliest hat that feels so good. Right, Andy? I mean, you were the one that told me to wear it, so hats off to all of you that made the preach off happen. And I know it's a ton of work for our arts and production team, for those of you that participated, Andy and Sarah and Barb. I think Barb gets these, but I'm always so proud of all of the challenges that come with delivering a message on the spot like that. It's a pretty vulnerable space, and you guys did a great job. It's always fun teaming up with you. Luke and Lauren, your comments up in the booth, I love watching our whole church react to that and laugh through that. Zeke, you were great on the field. And for all of you in the arts team, especially the production team, all of the moving parts. So Sarah and Edna, and all of the other team that's around that. Way to go. Thanks for leaning in. Good attendance increase. If you didn't see my app video update, Andy Rechtenwald shared with me a story of a woman who came up to him and said, hey, it's my anniversary from when I started attending Cedar Creek. And she took the 1-year challenge, and Andy asked, how have you seen God change your life? And she turned around and introduced her husband, who did not go to church, but wanted to come and see what was making such an impact in her life and helping her be a more joyful person. And then her kids started coming and her kids' friends. And so those stories just are so encouraging. And I met Ed and Dawn Sandwich, who've been a part of our church for a long time. They're neighbors who haven't grown up in church at all, are bringing their 2 young kids. And so it's cool to see God use stuff like that to make a difference. And so I have a couple things that I want to share with you. Today we do have our Christmas party. I'm looking forward to hanging out with you, many of you later on today at Reset. Seth has been named or said yes to the opportunity to be the South Toledo campus pastor. We're celebrating Seth and Sam and their impact there. We're really excited. So congrats. Give him a congratulations when you see him. I know there were 3 or 4 other people that applied, and there were even more who had conversations with their supervisors about the position. I think that's awesome. I am so thankful and excited that we have leaders in our organization that are looking for opportunities to grow, especially as we are looking for opportunities in other communities. Josh and I keep praying and dreaming about where God may send us next, and I would say we are actively looking at some of those opportunities, even though they may not happen in the next 12 months per se. And so I'm proud of our team, thankful for all the things that's happening there. Thankful for being, I think it's number 10, 10 years in a row, named a top Toledo workplace. We're one of like 3 that have been named that long. So I was at the dinner just a couple nights ago. We were ranked number 3 in the largest category in the mid-size businesses. That's if you have 75 to like 300 employees. And so we're the only church that's listed there. And there are companies, I met a handful of other companies that don't make it every year. You're really in the top 30%. And if you're in the top 3, you're in the top like 1% of the businesses in our community, or workplaces. And so thanks for continuing to lean into the culture that we have here. We have a series that we're kicking off this weekend that we did in 2021, which means there's probably a portion of you that weren't on staff, which is hard for me to believe, when we ran this series. And I think it's going to be really helpful for our church. Now, there are going to be people who give pushback. We don't need assessments. We don't like assessments. We don't need this kind of stuff. Or, I did that already. I don't want to do it again. I am working to make it fresh, some of the content fresh, but I believe that one of the ways we get better at leveraging Jesus' Great Commission and Great Commandments is paying attention, being aware of our temperament and how we show up. It's important for me as a leader. I had a conversation with a couple of you just the last couple of weeks about how sometimes my red shows up in challenging situations, and it comes across a little bit more intense than probably I intend. or can leave an impact that isn't always helpful. And so that kind of coaching conversation, I think, is really beneficial. It's also important in our family. It's also life-giving in our marriage. And so, and if we're going to live out our God-given purpose, I think we need to be aware of that. So, I'm excited about what it's going to do. I am asking you to lean in, look through your assessment, be aware of that. Not everything in your assessment is true for you, but some of what's in your assessment that you don't want to be true of you is. And so how do we come around some of that and allow our words to be helpful and healthful? That's what we'll be talking about over the next few weeks. In the exec summary, you're going to see things about Easter service times. We are changing our Easter service times to try to get more in before 1. And so that's a change that we are going to experience this year. And I think we're going to learn a lot through that experience as we begin to think about the potential in the future. And so kind of look through that. You can see that and Good Friday. You're going to see a summer schedule thing where we are going to be canceling or not holding Saturday night services a few times in the summer. It's just not worth the extra effort and energy. We'd rather you guys have fun with your friends or hang out with your dream team or whatever you want to do. And then the last thing that you're going to see is we're beginning some conversations on an outreach center at our South Toledo campus. We've been talking about this for years, and we feel like now is the right time to begin conversations around what that could look like, where we give some dedicated space for not just hosting, but potentially a hub to launch outreach from out of the South Toledo campus. So we're in the idea phase for that, very early. If you hear about it, I just didn't want you to be surprised. But overall, thankful for you guys and excited for what God has for us next, even if we get a mountain of snow this weekend. So love you guys. We'll see you in a little bit.